Thanks for joining us on the Nikki
Mhm.
Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister. You guys let me know if the audio sounds weird. We are trying something new with like how the show looks on things like Instagram, and it sounded really weird in my ears just now. Did it sound weird to you, Kim McAllister?
No, you sound normal to me. I like it.
Okay, perfect. It sounded really weird in my ears just now, but okay, good. Thanks for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister.
Hi.
Hi, click the thumbs up as we always ask you to do at the start of the show, because we are 100% listener supported, viewer supported, crowd supported. So thank you all for being here. And we have quite the show for you today, because there's been, of course, as always, big news between last Thursday and today, with everything from the Epstein files to the end of the government shutdown. And my big question for you when we talk about that, which we won't talk about right now, but we will soon. Do you blame the entire Democratic Party, or as I like to call them, the embarrassing eight? But first, we have to talk about the Epstein files. So as we know, they've been sworn back into office. Our lawmakers that have been collecting a paycheck during this entire government shutdown are now actually working for that paycheck. And now the Epstein, what is it? Like 20,000 documents, 2,000, I don't know, thousands of documents have been released. Lots and lots. Donald Trump's name is mentioned over and over and over again. Not, I'm going to be clear with this, not implicated in like doing anything to anybody, but mentioned over and over and over again. Now, thoughts, your initial thoughts on this, because I have an analogy about the whole thing with Donald Trump, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think about Donald Trump's mention in the Epstein files. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I don't think we know the full extent of it yet, but what I can say is a couple of them that came out today, a New York Times reporter saying Epstein offered to send pictures of Trump with these scantily clad, I don't know if they were girls or women
bikinis
or who they were,
or something,
wearing
right?
bikinis in the kitchen. That's not a good look, President. That is not a good look. And then indicators that that Epstein was talking to people in Russia about how to manage Trump, how to handle Trump, which only kind of furthers this long-running thought and or reporting that somehow Trump is connected to Russia, the people there, you know, underhanded, sneaky stuff happening with Russia. So it's nothing is a good look, and we're going to see more and more and more. I don't know if you saw this interview on CNN with Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury. She's a Democrat from, I forget what state. I want to say Maine? No, New Mexico. Boy, was I way off. And she went on CNN and was talking about how explosive this all is. And Trump did absolutely not like what she had to say at all, called her the dumbest member of Congress, and is super upset over what she had to say. So I thought, if he's so upset about it, then why don't we take a look? Because anything that upsets Trump is something that we can celebrate. Here's Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury on CNN.
Yeah, I mean, these emails are clearly extraordinarily explosive. They implicate the president, that he not only knew what was happening in Jeffrey Epstein's circle, but that he spent time with at least one, if not multiple, of Jeffrey Epstein's named sex victims, as well as there's discussion in the email that you just cited between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein about the fact that he had been the dog that didn't bark, and they specifically are talking about the police. So what this implicates is that potentially going back all the way to 2011, even after Jeffrey Epstein had been investigated for criminal activity, not just in sex trafficking, but also for financial crimes, which we know U.S. Attorney Acosta lied under his deposition about, that Donald Trump was being named by Epstein and by Ghislaine Maxwell as being the dog that didn't bark on them. And so the question is, What did Donald Trump have on them? Was he engaged in these activities? And why is Donald Trump calling Republican members of the House today and yesterday to threaten them to get off of the discharge petition? If he thinks that we should be focused on the reopening the government, then why is he personally calling Republicans and threatening them right now?
So help us understand this, because Democrats redacted Virginia Giuffre's name. And I mean, I have to say, these emails.
It came to us redacted. No, it came to us redacted.
It came to you redacted. Okay.
Yes, so we don't even know. That is the claim of the White House. So that's something that we should be asking questions about. Yes. Okay,
really interesting. So, and House Republicans came out and mentioned the redaction there. It is of significance that Virginia Giuffre, who was so vocal, right, and was not known for pulling any punches about what happened to her, did not accuse Trump of wrongdoing. And so I want to know kind of what you think of that, because there is this discrepancy. You have Epstein saying this in an email to Maxwell. Maxwell, you know, we know about her in terms of her credibility. She doesn't really have credibility, right, when it comes to being honest. I'd say people have the same questions about Epstein. Giuffre has said that there wasn't wrong. She hasn't claimed wrongdoing with Trump. So how do you kind of square what you're reading in the email with what Virginia Giuffre had said publicly?
Well, first of all, like I just mentioned, we don't know if the White House's claim that that redacted name actually is Virginia Giuffre. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I think it's convenient that the White House is trying to choose an alibi that they think. And, you know, if you read the email, this is private correspondence between Maxwell and Epstein. Why does the White House know at all who Donald Trump was hanging out with at Jeffrey Epstein's house, who was one of the sex trafficking accusers, right? Like, this should be raising every hair on the back of your neck right now. We don't even know that that is who is named in this email. Secondly, whether or not Virginia Giuffre has accused the president of wrongdoing, what I'd like to say to the American people is believe your eyes. We have all seen the photographs of Donald Trump with underage girls sitting on his lap. We know that he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein for more than a decade. We know that he has not complied with our congressional subpoena of the DOJ files, and we know that he is named multiple times in those files. So believe your eyes, believe your ears. And my question is, if they were not engaged in an elaborate smokescreen and cover-up, then why the hell is the president calling and threatening members of Congress for them to not take a vote on releasing these files after these files have already been subpoenaed? They are trying to bury this, and the president is personally trying to stop Congress from asking for these files again.
And I do want to ask you about that, because it is unusual that Lauren Boebert is there for this meeting. But first, just to really zoom in on this redacted name here. So are you of the belief that the victim that Epstein is alleging Trump spent time with at his house is someone besides Virginia Giuffre, or could be someone besides Virginia Giuffre?
I do not have information that would allow me to answer that question. What I know is that we've received 23,000 documents from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, including this email.
Okay, but then let me zero in on this real quick. So can I just ask you this? So you do not have knowledge that tells you that is Virginia Giuffre?
Absolutely not.
Well, it's redacted, Brianna. I mean, come on.
Okay,
yeah.
so explain.
What she's saying is we can't trust them. Just because the White House says it's Virginia doesn't mean
right.
it's Virginia.
And
right?
Virginia, unfortunately, has passed away, so
right.
we can't ask her either. But I think the conversation, the part of that conversation that I think holds, and I think every single American needs to remember, it doesn't matter if Donald Trump. Everyone's saying, at least right now, right? What we know right now. Nothing implicates Donald Trump from actually participating in any sort of sex trafficking or sexual abuse of girls at this point, right? From what we know of what's in the files. But what you need to remember is if he is so innocent, why is he behaving the way he's behaving? What does he not want to come out? And this goes to my analogy that I'm just comparing it to. At the very least, this is what it is, because I think it's worse than this. I think that obviously it's dirtier than this. Dirty Donald. It reminds me of like a Jim Jordan, or I'm going to say it like the Catholic Church. Crimes are happening to children.
Yes.
You're seeing it happen and you're doing nothing about it. I don't think somebody that would allow that to happen should be president of the United States.
Nope.
Sorry, I don't. And whether you're Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or whoever, that is horrific. That is the problem. And if that's what he doesn't want to come out because he's been trying to separate, I didn't know what was going on at Epstein Island, BS. Because that is at the very least what Donald Trump is trying to hide, is that he absolutely knew that these girls were being abused. And he did nothing about it.
Well, the White House comes out swinging against that interview. And Stephen Chung, the spokesperson for Trump, right, says, dummy alert, Representative Stansbury may be the stupidest member of Congress. That or she's a stone cold liar. Either way, she beclowned herself on national television, flailing around like a jellyfish, which doesn't have a brain, when confronted with the truth/facts. No, I don't think she beclowned herself at all. Do you? I think she sounded completely reasonable.
Yeah. Thank you, Harry, so much for the $5 donation. We are getting this party started. Would it be snarky to say Trump got an honorable mention? I think he definitely got a little bit more than an honorable mention, Harry. But yeah, I think I just don't get it. It's, if I was innocent, I wouldn't act like Donald Trump is acting. And I wouldn't act like Pam Bondi is acting. I wouldn't be acting like anybody that has seen these files is acting. There's something more there. Now, I understand the redactions and protecting the victims and doing all those sorts of things, but I think that there is so much more. I mean, obviously, nobody's read all of these files yet, but there's something more there. And you wouldn't be doing all of this, calling people a liar, calling Lauren Boebert, trying to get people not to vote for it if there wasn't something there. And, JD Vance, they were saying about that tweet that's come back to haunt him. This was back in 2021. He said, remember when we learned that our wealthiest and most powerful people were connected to a guy who ran a literal child sex trafficking ring? And then that guy died mysteriously in a jail. And now we just don't talk about it. Yeah, you're the vice president. And apparently that doesn't matter to you anymore, JD Vance. Like, you are now part of that whole machine that doesn't want to talk about it. And it's absolutely insane. Here's another question. How long do you think, now that these files are released, how long do you think this story is going to be able to hold on?
Oh, I think for a while. It'll take a while to sift through. There will be bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. I love this comment from Agolf. Donald Trump's team has seen the files and they've decided that the truth is worse for them than our imaginations. And that says something foul itself.
Exactly.
Isn't that the truth?
And that's gross. That's absolutely gross. Because we have gross imaginations. People imagine what actually happened. And exactly, if it walks like a pedo and quacks like a pedo, it's an effing pedo. We all know that Dump is a pedo. It's not rocket science. But I will caution Agent Kitty. And I hate saying this. We have to actually have proof. But I will say that at the very least, that's why I made that analogy to Jim Jordan and all of that. At the very least, at the most horrific least, he knew. And that makes him just as bad. I'm sorry. I got rid of.
No, it's okay. What we know is, and this was something I was going to mention. Ren says, yeah, there was a girl that dropped the lawsuit because she was threatened.
Of course.
What we know about Virginia Giuffre is that she also was threatened. There are stories recently about formerly known as Prince Andrew, going after her in multiple ways and being threatened. So when you have a young woman who's going through a mental crisis,
Right.
who says that nothing ever happened with Trump, but we know that had been threatened by all sides. She might have been petrified. She might have had her family threatened. I don't necessarily believe that either. I mean, I believe that her accusations that she was a victim in all of this. I have no doubt that she was wronged and that she was trafficked. But when she says toward the end of her life, when we know that she's under threat from all sides,
Yeah.
and somehow comes out and says, well, I never had a problem with Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have questions.
Right. Well, there's also his defenders. Somebody mentioned this in the comment. I wanted to play it because I listened to it too. Listen to what Megyn freaking Kelly had to say about how she describes Jeffrey Epstein and whether or not he was a pedophile.
Again, like without hardcore proof, you shouldn't say their names because you don't know whether they're true. But people know the names. We've heard them many, many times. Anyway, I do think there are some who are so well connected or did such a good job of hiding their tracks that they'll never be facing real charges. As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
Children.
And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed. And that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah. So I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. You can say that's a distinction without a difference.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. It's
God.
sick because every time we start talking about Epstein, it makes your skin crawl. You right? The whole thing is just disgusting.
Totally.
You're disgusting.
Anyway, well,
she is. You know what? That whole thing by Megyn Kelly is why teenage girls get abused. I'm sorry. Like, that is the problem. That is the problem. You obviously sexually abusing a 5-year-old versus a 15-year-old, horrific, right? But the fact that she thinks I don't know, she's making it seem like it's a little bit okay.
It's not as bad. It's not as
bad. Like, are you effing kidding me right now? Like, are you kidding me?
She must have missed something morally somewhere along the way. I feel like does she not have kids? Because you and I both have 16-year-old daughters. And,
oh my God.
And furthermore, she's not in command of the facts because we know that girls as young as 13 have alleged they were part of this sex trafficking thing with Epstein. So she's wrong, 13, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're under 18. If they are legally not an adult or able to consent,
right?
It is child abuse.
Right.
And you cannot abuse a 15-year-old girl any more than you can abuse a younger child. And it's not okay. And it's not a little bit better. It's still disgusting, perverted, and against the law. Period. End of sentence. So don't minimize what had happened to a teenage girl just because you think, oh, well, they weren't 5.
Right, exactly. And she's
gross.
She is so disgusting for saying that. And I couldn't believe that it came out of her mouth and she thought it was a good idea to say. Like, and you don't think that you are breaking a child at 15, 16, 17 years old by doing that? Like, my daughter is almost 17 years old. If you did something like that to her, she would be broken. Like, she's a child. She is a child. Yeah, Megyn Kelly, there's something seriously wrong with that woman. And I just can't. She's like a Maxwell, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, are you just justifying something in your mind to make it okay? I don't know.
She tries to say at the end, "Oh, the whole thing's disgusting."
Oh, makes my skin crawl. You're making my skin crawl.
You're
woman.
making my skin crawl. Wait a minute. I mean, you are exactly right when you say this is why young women don't feel like they can come forward or that their stories are as valid or what have you. She just did some damage to the young women, any young women any person who listened, who had that happen in their teenage years, as if somehow the crime committed against them, that's fine. You're fine. You'll get over it. You're 15.
You were
okay.
15.
Are you kidding me?
You could pass. Like, are you effing kidding me right now? So yeah, she's just, she's gross. She's absolutely gross. So I definitely think you're right, Kim. I think this story is going to hold on. I think that the more Trump tries to suppress it, the more guilty he looks. If he was smart, he's not. You just let it be released. What?
I'm shocked. Myra says Megyn Kelly has a 14-year-old daughter. Is that true?
I'm sure she has children. I didn't know she had a 14-year-old.
Someone call CPS, man. That's gross. How could she look in the face of a 14-year-old girl in her home and think it wouldn't be as bad if it happened to you as if it happened to your little brother? Really?
Yeah. It's absolutely, it's crazy. I hope she rewatches that segment and maybe just has a change of heart and realizes how gross that sounds and maybe does a retraction or something, because it's real. I mean, Mediate obviously latched onto it. I hope, but she never, ever takes back anything she says. That's these commentators, these right-wing commentators, like, the news cycle will pass. They never take anything back. But that was gross. That was really gross to use something like that, to use this storyline. It's absolutely disgusting.
No,
but
that's a train wreck. That whole thing was a train wreck.
Yeah. I don't think that, I think you're right, Jennifer. I don't think Republicans are going to hold Trump responsible, but I think MAGA, MTG, there's more Republicans signed on for the release, right? I don't think they're going to let it go. If Trump was smart, he would just be like, fine. He's not, though, because there's something in there, right?
We know it. Yeah.
Well, it's not going to let it die by acting the way that he is. Yeah, Phineas. He's going to pardon his own.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Here's a question for you. When he did the grab him by the pee, the excuse was, "Oh, that's just locker room talk."
Yeah.
Right. When he did he was found liable for the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll.
Oh, but
he said, I couldn't possibly have, because she wasn't my type. She wasn't attractive enough. I wouldn't have touched her with the 10-foot pole. Right. These are the ridiculous excuses of people. If he did confess, what would the excuse be? Would it be something like, times were different then, and it was okay to mess around with the younger girls then, and now we know better, and I made some mistakes in my life, and my bad, I'm sorry. Would that be it? Would that be enough for America?
Well, I think,
by the way, doesn't care about children anyway, Sandy Hook. Right?
True. Maybe. Sadly, maybe. I think that if it matters, and I hate saying this, it matters how other things are doing in the country, right? So if things turn around for Trump and he's doing well and all that kind of stuff, they might be like, okay, maybe. But if things stay the way they are, and things are, going down the tubes, maybe not. I don't know. I just think that it should never be. It should always be save the children. It's never okay. But this is a fickle country. What they care about, people, their morals, at least for some groups, sway with the wind and their politics. It never stays the same. Tammy says the emails are awful enough, but wait until the pictures come out. It's hard to argue with visual evidence of child abuse. He has to be in them.
I won't be able to see that.
Yeah,
I can't.
Well, if it's just him with bikini-clad teenagers, that's not against the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not against the law to take pictures with bikini-clad teenagers. Now, does it look really, really bad for him? Yeah, especially if those are the girls that got assaulted.
I mean,
I don't know, man.
The problem is there's no way to get rid of him. So even if worst case scenario, nasty things come out, all of this is true and more. And as the previous comment, that is worse than we could possibly imagine, right? If that's true, just say that it is. He's not going to resign.
Oh, God,
and
no.
His supporters are so addicted to power and money and whatever the hell else underhanded things are coming to them that there's no way they're going to get rid of him. So all of this serves to embarrass Trump, right?
Right.
And maybe to sway a few of his people, of his base, away from him, that, that people that really needed convincing, like, how can you support that guy? Look what he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, assuming it's all true.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
He's not leaving office. And the horrible things that he's doing to this country, trampling on the Constitution, having masked people grab folks off the street, citizens and non-citizens alike, almost opening a war with Venezuela, like all of these things, these are the bad times are going to keep on rolling, whether or not the tapes come out.
Exactly. And even if, the midterms go the Dems' way, they're not going to impeach Trump again. It's never, and even if they did, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because the Supreme Court has already said that he can do whatever the hell he wants. That's it. So it doesn't matter.
Sal the Shoemaker says if the Dems take back the House and get 60 in the Senate in midterms, right, he could be impeached and removed. Hasn't happened since 1964 in the Senate. It
will never happen. Look, we had him by the short and curlies, right, after January 6th.
Yeah.
And he still stayed. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
And he wasn't even in office.
Come on. I just think America doesn't have the appetite for another impeachment. They just don't. I personally don't think so. I think that we're just gonna have to wait it out. I hope that, wouldn't it be great if we could just take control of the House and Senate? That would be amazing.
I don't know if you say America doesn't have the appetite for it. I think that the GOP doesn't have the appetite for it, that MAGA land doesn't have the appetite for it, clearly. But if you look at the most recent 2 No Kings protests, when millions of Americans came out to the towns and cities across the country, people are mad, people are angry, and people are not willing to tolerate it. I think maybe there's more of an appetite for this type of thing than possible. Will it happen? I'm not optimistic because I've been so disillusioned before. But hey, if who was it that said that needs 60? We just need 60. Sal the Shoemaker. Right. If from Sal's fingertips typing to God's ears, I'll take it.
Yeah, but like our other one said, who cares if we impeach him? Because if we don't get a conviction, it doesn't matter. It doesn't ever matter. Like, okay, it's just like, it's like when that Office, I always laugh at it, the Office episode where Michael declares bankruptcy, and the joke is he just stands in the middle of the room and he's like, I declare bankruptcy. That's not how that works, but that's how this seems. It just seems like you're impeached. It doesn't effing mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. And he stays in office and we reelect him, and it doesn't actually do anything at all. He laughs at us. Ha 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 ha. He doesn't care. It doesn't hurt him. It doesn't. It does not matter. Yeah. January 6th happened. He's been impeached twice, and it doesn't freaking matter.
Tammy and I think Cheryl also talked about educating girls, teaching them to say no. And I understand the thought process there, but I would say this. It doesn't matter whether an underage person says yes or no, it's a crime. They can't make that decision. They are not allowed to make a decision. They don't have the decision to consent. The law says it is illegal. So it is illegal. And to say that, oh, we have to teach the kids better. No, we're not gonna. I mean, maybe, but let's not blame the girls for not being strong
Children.
enough to stand up. Let's blame the gross men who did it, right?
Mhm.
And I know both of you
Exactly.
think that's true, but I just and trust me, with a daughter, I get where you're coming from, but I just want to make sure that we're putting the blame on the right candidate
Right.
here.
And you also have to
Mhm,
teach the boys, right? Like teach the
mhm.
boys how to treat girls and not to look at them as objects, right? Not to look at them as girls that might pass for being older, right?
Yeah,
Like, and the catcalling and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all ingrained and yeah, it's gross. It just is. The
mhm,
adult is always exactly the adult.
yeah,
And then, you know,
yeah.
it's just like when you teach your kids, you know, not to get kidnapped or whatever, like an adult
Stranger
never needs the
danger,
help
right,
of a child. You know,
right.
like the adult's like, oh, can you help me look for my dog? No adult needs the help of a child. Like, go find another friggin' adult. You don't need my help, right? Like,
Mhm,
that's what you tell children. An adult
mhm.
doesn't need children's help. You don't need to do any of that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens with that. I do want to move on though to the reopening of the government.
Okay.
The Dems, the well, the 7 Dems and the independent, um, caving, right?
Mhm.
And the blame that is going around. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom has given interviews. He's been on his tour. He's saying that the aides obviously have not taken the threat of Donald Trump seriously enough. That they just didn't realize what had happened or what's going to happen or the threat of what's happening. When you heard that they were voting with the Republicans, Kim, what was your initial thought?
Are you talking about the 8th with their sneaky
Yes.
little phone call thing? I thought what and what I mean by that is, if that's what you're referencing, is they put this provision in the bill that would reopen the government that would allow them to penalize the government to the tune of $500,000 per violation where the government looked up their phone records
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
after
that one.
January 6th. And so my first thought was, as far as those people, they did it because they had something to hide, or they're angry, or they were involved in that kind of stuff. They were making phone calls, or they were allowing people to come into the Capitol to case it. I don't know. I was just disgusted by them. And then all the other little things that were in there. Instead of just reopening the government, like the banning of the hemp, the all of this other stuff. It's, what are you doing?
Right. I didn't need any of that crap. No, just needed to reopen the government because I thought that's what we were arguing about, right?
Right,
We just
right.
wanted a clean opening of the government. Why did we have to talk about healthcare or anything like that? That's what pissed me off.
Mhm.
Of course, Mike Johnson had no idea what was in there. Mike Johnson has no idea what's going on. All he does is he looks at Donald Trump. Donald Trump tells him what to do, and that's what he does. If anything's going on, he has no idea. Did you hear that something was said about Donald Trump? I had no idea about that. That's
Mhm.
all he ever says. Mike Johnson has no idea what's going on. I wish a reporter would look at Mike Johnson and be
Yeah.
like, you don't often know what's going on. Do you think that you're qualified to be Speaker of the House? I mean, call him out on that BS line that he constantly says. It's just ridiculous. But no, I meant like the eight Democrats and the independent, when they signed, obviously like the people home, the turncoats and turning on their party, they were coming out and saying, who was it? I forgive me, that one lawmaker that came out and said, was asked like, why did you sign or why did you vote with Republicans? And instead, especially because you didn't get what you wanted on healthcare, and he's like, because it wasn't working, because it wasn't working.
Was that Fetterman?
No, it wasn't Fetterman. It was
Oh,
the guy
okay.
with the mustache. Um,
Fetterman said something similar, like
so
we
that's
just
kind of what,
needed to
yeah,
get
that's
the
kind of
government
their
reopened.
excuse. It
And what
wasn't
was
working.
what was the point of the whole thing in the first place?
Then what
If you weren't willing to have a backbone and you weren't willing to fight for healthcare subsidy extensions, knowing what would happen to the American people and how serious and dangerous it will be for people to go without health insurance, if you weren't willing to fight for that, then what was all this hoopla? Why did you cause all the ruckus in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, just stop it then. Then you just acquiesce and bend over and say, fine, do what you're going to do. But don't put up a fuss if you're not willing. It's like being a mom, you know. The one good piece of advice I ever got from watching Dr. Phil, he said the minute I'm talking to Nikki. Yeah.
The kind of worst thing is tonight.
Okay. So
It's at 6.
so I'm sorry, chain of thought. This is what happens when the kids are home. But the one thing Dr. Phil said is, if you're going to do a punishment, if you're going to offer a punishment, right? Then you better stick to it, because the minute you back off of it, they'll know it's open season. And that is true. You know, if you're grounded and you repeal the grounding, all of a sudden they know you don't mean business. And that, to me, apologize for the interruption there, but that to me is what happened here. Now the Republicans know Democrats don't mean business. Look how easy it was to bend them.
Well, I don't think it was easy. I will disagree with you there, but I do think that what's happening is what I said last week, which was they have shined a big light on healthcare and affordability on the GOP and on Donald Trump that now that party has to pay up on, right? So now you have to figure out how to make healthcare more affordable, and you have to bring down prices now, right? So Donald Trump threw out this whole, I'm going to give people $2,000. And I love, there's something that I love, and I'm using that in quotes, about Donald Trump, is that he screws his own people so badly just by throwing this shit out. Just like, he just said it. He just said it. There was no rhyme, no reason, no thought behind it. He just pulled that shit right out of his ass. He's like, I'm just going to give people $2,000. And he's going to make his people figure out how that's going to happen. Now, they're going to probably twist it in a ton of different ways to make you feel like you got $2,000. But whether it's a check, whether it's a tax savings or whatever, but he has no idea how that's going to happen. You know how much money that's going to be? It's insane. Oh yeah, we're going to get to the 50-year mortgage that is not saving you any money whatsoever. But that's the thing. Like, if you got a $2,000 check in the mail, it's going to come from tariffs. Yeah. Do you know where that tariff money came from? You. Yeah. Paying more for the shit you buy.
But Nikki, as Kevin says, Trump says everything's affordable.
Oh yeah, gas is like 59 cents.
The price of a Walmart Thanksgiving dinner has gone down, Nikki. Come on, don't you know?
I want someone to take Donald Trump to a grocery store. Why can't somebody do that segment? Like, somebody on Fox News, just take him grocery shopping.
It doesn't matter.
Take him grocery shopping.
That would be a comparative thing. Like, you remember 3 years ago what things cost and now what they cost. And because he never goes in and he never shops and he doesn't ever have to consider the prices of groceries, then he would have nothing to compare it to, right?
It's insane. So yeah, I mean, basically what the Democrats have succeeded in doing is there's a ticking clock, right? There's the end of the year. There's the end of the year.
Yeah.
That either they do something on subsidies, which is the most obvious choice, is extend it. That's the easiest thing to do, is to do what the Dems wanted, which is extend the subsidies, at least for a year, right? At least for a year. So Dems, if they do that, which I would hope that they would do, then good. Then the Dems got what they wanted. America got what it needed.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, well, then we're screwed. So many Americans are screwed. But that falls straight on the feet of the GOP, right? So then the Dems, terribly, because Americans are screwed, win, right? They're like, look, we told you the GOP was going to do this. We told you they didn't have a plan. And then this whole stupid ass idea that Donald Trump wants to give you money so you can figure it out for your fucking self how to buy insurance? You think Ma and Pa in West Virginia want to figure out how to friggin' buy health insurance every time? You think that healthy 19, 20, 21-year-olds are going to really want to pay the same amount to help pay for somebody with cancer? That was the problem before. Everybody, we just need Medicare for all. We just need everybody to just be covered. Like, it's so effing stupid. They want to make it so complicated. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. When they want to make it complicated, somebody's getting screwed. Just make it simple. I mean, we have other countries to look at. They've done it. They're fine. We're the only country that makes it so freaking complicated that people either have to die with medical debt or not get health care at all. It's so stupid. And it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
No.
I know.
Indigo says, I'm still waiting for my $5,000 Doge check. Yeah, good luck. Don't hold your breath. Concepts of a plan. I have a question for you. Pez's daughter says that the word groceries is an old-fashioned word. What do you call it then if you don't say groceries?
Food? And, I mean, I call it groceries. I have to go grocery shopping.
That's what I say. You say
I go grocery shopping.
You don't say I have to go food shopping. You say groceries because it encompasses like all of these things. I don't know.
I want to know what Peg's daughter says. What do you say?
What do you say instead of going to the? You can say I'm going to the grocery store. But then what do you refer to? Like, will you help me carry in the groceries? Will you help me carry in the foodstuffs? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like this little piggy went to the market. I don't call it the market. I call it grocery shopping. I go grocery shopping. That's really funny.
Will you help me carry in the market bags? No, will you help me carry in the groceries, right?
I call it groceries. That's really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that Donald Trump is so disconnected. Oh, and then did you see this? Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe I could find it real quick. That Eric Trump was getting completely made fun of online by talking about, here it is. I found it. This is the problem with like the Trump kids is that they have absolutely, they don't live in the same world as we do. So he's getting totally made fun of online because he was talking about Bitcoin, because you know that Trump kids and everyone is totally into Bitcoin. This is what he's talking about as everyone's suffering.
There's no reason at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon I shouldn't be able to send out a Swift wire transfer. Right now you can't. I try and make a transfer every single week, and you're trying to push before the 5 o'clock deadline to either receive money or to get it out. How is that modern day finance? You can send $500 million worth of Bitcoin on a Sunday night at 11 p.m. while having a glass of wine with your wife.
So that was really low. He's saying you can send $500 million of Bitcoin on a Sunday night while having a glass of wine with your wife. Like, yeah, I don't think anyone, the average American is trading $500,000 or $500 million in Bitcoin or whatever on a Sunday night. Like, that's the difference. Like Eric Trump, Donald Trump, they're not living in the same world as us. They just aren't. And so if they don't know what the price of eggs are, and they're trying to tell you not to vote for Joe Biden because he's ruined the price of eggs, ask them how much are eggs? Because they don't know. They don't know how much. They don't know how much a gallon of milk is. You know what I mean? They have no idea how much a gallon of milk is.
Right.
They just don't. They don't. And it's ridiculous. And it's stupid to think that they do. You know who do? Politicians like AOC, Bernie Sanders, progressives. You know what I mean? And that's going back to the Democratic Party and the face of the Democratic Party. We were talking about that with the mayoral race in New York and Virginia and all those places. Like, who is the face of the party? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez spoke with the reporters as the government shut down and the government was reopening. And she was talking about whether or not Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries should lose their jobs, even though they did not vote with the Republicans to open the government, right? Like, should they lose their jobs because they basically didn't stop it from happening, right? Here is what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had said, oh, please, I didn't set it up though. It might be an ad.
We're both hardcore foodies, so wherever we go, the standards need to be high. And Casino Matrix definitely came through with the weekly special. Their happy hours insane.
All right,
Plus,
skip the ad. There we go.
This is your first week back after 6 weeks, been missing paychecks, and we have to figure out what that was for, because you had both the capitulation in the Senate and you had the refusal and the outright cruelty among House Republicans and the White House, who went to court to try to sue for their ability to deny people's access to food. That we're in right now, and we need to act like it, and we cannot enable this kind of cruelty with our cowardice, period.
Congresswoman, you mentioned Schumer stay as minority leader?
I think what is so important for folks to understand is that this problem is bigger than one person, and it actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. You had 8 Senate Democrats who coordinated their own votes on this, as well as you have 2 retiring members. Many of them are also up in several cycles from now, with the hope that people are going to forget this moment. And I think what's important is that we understand that this is not just a leader is a reflection of the party, and Senate Democrats have selected their leadership to represent them. And so the question needs to be bigger than just one person. We have several Senate primaries this cycle. I know I'm being asked about New York. That is years from now. I have to remind my own constituents, because they think that this election is this year. We actually do have Senate elections this year. And my hope is that people across this country actually participate in their primary elections in selecting their leadership. Thank you.
So I'm sorry if you guys didn't hear it, but basically she was saying there are Senate races coming up very soon, not in New York, because she had to educate people on when theirs were. And there was a reporter yelling, you didn't really answer the question. She did answer the question. What she's saying is, if you want your Democratic Party to become more progressive, where there is universal health care, you need to start voting that way. Mm-hmm. If you want more progressive senators, which would be an insane decision, a la the New York mayor, right? That nobody saw coming, that shocked everybody, right? Then you need to vote that way. Bernie Sanders did an interview with CNN saying the same thing, that there's only a handful of progressive Democrats. It doesn't matter if Bernie Sanders and AOC are there and getting all the cameras and the sound bites. Mm-hmm. There's such a small minority of the Democratic Party. And so they're not going to sway. They're not going to be the leader or the minority leader or whatever of the party until voters start voting that way and start showing that that's where they want the Democratic Party to go. So for all the voters saying, oh, why does the Democratic Party, give in to Republicans on this, that, and the other? Well, you're voting that way. You're voting for these very moderate Democrats. Mm-hmm. That if that was AOC and a majority of lawmakers like her, it would have never happened. But that's not how voters are electing, and that's not who they're electing. So if you want it, you got to vote that way, and they're not.
Well, some folks in the chat are predicting a blue wave in the midterms. I hate to be too optimistic because I've been disappointed one too many a time before, but hopefully this previous election with more progressive candidates is an indicator that maybe America's fed up with what we've got and ready to take a chance. Or maybe it's just that the areas that were undergoing elections were the more progressive areas and that the rest of the country isn't feeling it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, again, we might have a blue wave, but who's part of that blue wave? Mm-hmm. Who are the people? I hope that they're younger. I hope that they're not. I hope they are people that can actually get stuff done. Does that make sense? Like, mm-hmm. I don't want the Democratic version of a Lauren Boebert. Ineffectual. You know what I mean? Just there to to make sound bites but not do anything. Although I don't really, and this is my bias showing, I don't really feel like the Democratic Party has those people. I really do feel like the Democratic Party just wants to get our agenda done, which is get people health care and affordable housing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, even though the GOP loves to say that we're the they them party and we have all of these, social issues and we're not the nuts and bolts in the grocery store, we actually are. We actually want to give people the things that they actually need: healthcare, housing, affordability, those sorts of things. The GOP seems to latch on to these, social issues and trying to take away the rights of people who are just trying to live their friggin' lives. You know what I mean? Like, let it go. But speaking of affordability, let's talk a little bit about that 50-year mortgage.
You're going to be paying till the day you drop dead.
Who the hell? Okay, first off,
who can ever retire, right?
Who the hell wants to pay a mortgage for 50 years? And you're not saving any money. They did the math. I was watching the math. Double the interest. They were saying on a $400,000 home, which in America, that's the median price home here. That'd be a deal. You would go from paying like $400,000 in interest. Like, imagine that. You'd be paying like basically your home in interest to like $800,000 in interest over the life of the loan. You know who loves that? Banks. You know who just had a dinner with Donald Trump? Banks. I wonder why he's offering up a 50-year mortgage. That's not making homeownership affordable. No, that's not. You're just losing more of your money.
You're going to pay more than in interest over the life of that loan than you ever even paid for the house. But I will say this. Okay, so the idea of a 50-year mortgage, as outrageous as it is, say you're a young buyer and you just want to get into the market, but you can't afford a $5,000 a month payment. But if you take out a 50-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage, the payment goes down by $500 a month or whatever it is, and that makes it doable. And then when you build up some equity, you offload that 50-year mortgage, you take that equity and you buy something else. So for the savvy buyer who's kind of doing the trade up, that works. For a buyer like me, who's probably gonna die in this house because I can't ever afford to sell it, and also I bought the house right next door to my mom for a reason, like that, to me, when I enter into a loan deal, then I'm entering into that deal and I'm expecting that I'm going to pay off that house.
Right.
So it depends on what kind of buyer you are, I guess. But the idea that we can fix the affordability of housing crisis in America with a 50-year mortgage, I don't think so. We never then address the fact that homes cost more than $1 million, right? Like for a ridiculous house that like I live in, that's just a tract home, and it's really nothing special except for it's home to me and where my kids grew up, right? But it's not like a custom build craftsman Victorian special one of a kind whiz bang home. No, there's 50,000 other homes just like it in the same neighborhood. So I don't know. He's
not making anything affordable. He's not making anything affordable.
We're not attacking both sides of the problem.
Right.
You're making a mortgage more affordable, but you're not talking about the price of homes or setting up neighborhoods where prices are low enough for people to get in and see their equity rise. This one area doesn't take into account other ways that you could help that might actually even be more beneficial.
Exactly. And you're just, keeping the debt longer. Like, that's the problem. People have too much debt for too long. I can't wait. You know what I mean? To pay off a house, people dream of that day. Yeah. And now you're basically telling people you'll never pay it off. That's basically it. Because I mean, the age in which people even get into home ownership has gotten later. It's in the 30s. So basically, unless you do what you said, Kim, like refinance and do all that, if you can, if the rates get low enough, if the rates get better, right? Like, you're never going to not have a mortgage. Now,
as John says, your kids will be paying for it at some point, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're stuck with the house. It's just not addressing the true problem. It's just not. Yeah, a $450,000 home would end up costing you over $1 million.
So ridiculous.
It's just, it doesn't, again, you have to build more, and you have to build different types of housing.
Mhm.
Not everybody needs a single, like a tract home like Kim. Not everybody wants that. Some
Right.
people will never have children. They don't need, the white picket fence. Maybe they want the condo, the skyrise, the top of the skyrise or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't need all the grass and the lawn and the neighbors and all that kind of crap. I owe my soul to the company. Or exactly.
I don't know what this is about, but no, I don't have 3 houses. I only have the one, just the one.
Yeah. And then your mom's house is next door, right?
Yeah, which she owns. I could barely afford the one I've got. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. I mean, it's just, I don't know, the penthouse. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. But yeah, I wish that there was an honest conversation about where people live, how people live, the changing dynamics, giving up. We've talked about it on this American dream, single family home, white picket fence, that sort of thing. If everybody wants to continue to live in the same area. I was just reading the story about them wanting to build this huge community in Fresno, and the people there are fighting it because they're building it on this like rich farmland. And the people are like, nobody wants to live here. Stop building here. This is farmland. And like, I agree. It's not if you build it, they will come type of thing all the time, right? If Fresno doesn't have the jobs that are enticing people to live there, don't give up the rich farmland that we actually need.
Agent Kitty Feet says, but you can refinance later. Exactly. Yeah, sure. That's assuming interest rates won't continue to get even worse, right?
Exactly. How many people are stuck right now? They don't want to give up their 3% or whatever they have interest rate. They're not moving at all. So that's an assumption. That's a big assumption. So
Sue Ann says my 30-year mortgage pays off when I'm 83. Luckily, the last refi dropped the interest rate a bit. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the best case scenario is that you pay off your house as you retire, because you know that you're going to be on a fixed income, that your monthly income is probably going to drop a bit, because most of us don't make the same amount of money, even on a pension, as our former work salary.
Right.
So then what happens to you? Then you can't afford to retire ever.
Yeah.
You get to work and work and work if you're going to end up trying to pay off that mortgage till you're, as Sue Ann says, 83. Yeah.
Right. And then like, are people never supposed to retire? And like, I don't want to have a mortgage when I retire. I don't want to have a mortgage when I retire. I want to, I want to be able to just hopefully, what I want? This is my dream, Kim. I hope we figure the F out in this country where I don't have to pay for healthcare or like health. You know what I mean? We have universal healthcare, like whatever, like other countries get, right? Like I get to go into a hospital and not get a bill. Like I want to experience that here in our lifetime. Like, how nice would that be, right? I don't understand why not. And then I want to not have a mortgage.
Sure.
And then I'm not saying I want to like travel all over the world, but I want to be able to enjoy my family, maybe take a trip every couple of years or whatever to, with the grandkids. That'd be nice. Not anything unless I hit the lottery, of course, then, then we'll be special. But decreasing the supply of homes on the market will not decrease the cost of housing. Decreasing the supply of
increasing the supply.
Increasing will not decrease. Yeah, increasing. If you increase it, it's supply and demand, right?
Right.
But you have to also increase a certain type of housing. You can build $2 million homes left and right, which is what California keeps doing. But if nobody can afford the friggin' homes, it doesn't help anybody. You have to build $500,000 homes. That's what you have to build. $500,000 homes all over the place. That's what the Bay Area needs to do. But the builders don't want to do it because they don't make any money off of it, right? It costs them too much money.
Vilma saying maybe these loans, these 50-year mortgages, are just for the people that can only dream about home ownership in California, that it would be a start for them. Yeah.
I know. I hear you, but I still think you're getting screwed. This is the stupidest idea. Do not. And they're going to do it for cars too. Did you hear what they're going to do for cars? Lower the cost of cars. Stop with the tariffs. I mean, it's so stupid. I'm not going to get because what, it's 5 years the average right now. They're going to extend it to what, 10 years? I have no idea what they would extend to, 10 years, 12 years. It's so stupid. Who the hell wants to pay off a car that long? I mean,
who can possibly buy a new car?
I know the starting price average is what, like $40,000 or something like that.
And that's just for the base model. You want an air conditioner, it's going to cost you more. Consider it's like $50,000 for a new car, just like a general new car, not like a fancy dancy new car. No. I'll never have a new car again, ever.
I would never buy a new car. I mean, so my Prius, I got technically new, but I bought it on the last day of the year. So I bought it on December 31st of 2016, and it's a 2016 car. And the only reason I bought it is because they were having all those end of year sales. So that's the only reason why I bought it.
Yeah.
So it was new. But that's also because I had the money from the VW settlement. Remember the Lion-ass cars and that whole emission scandal thing? So I had money from that. But I would never, my next car, I'll buy used because it's going to depreciate in value the minute you drive it off. So, but it's still going to be expensive because everyone's buying used because news are too expensive. So good luck. It's still going to cost you a pretty penny.
And now you're going to be paying on an old jalopy for the rest of your life.
Well, you could still get a good used car. I mean, the dealerships are selling them. They're backing them up. You can buy a nice used car, but it's just going to be, I mean, if you buy it off, Joe Blow down the street,
sure,
it might be.
No, I think a used car is a great option, but it used to be that it was 7-year car loans.
I mean, I think I like 5 to 6. I think I don't know. 7 seems long.
Now
is it 7?
I thought that was the longest. Now they're extending that out even further, right? Would you say 10? 10 years? 15 years?
Oh, hell no.
I mean, by the
there's some people that never not have a car payment. They always have a car payment. I love not having a car payment. Are you kidding me?
At some point, you kind of trade the cost, right? When you finally pay off your car, maybe you have it for a couple more years before things start to need repairs and things are breaking because it's getting to be an older car. If you haven't traded it in,
take care of your car. It'll be fine.
You'll get to the point where you have a car payment and a repair bill at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's true. It matters what kind of car. You have to get the right car. See, I like the older cars. You know what I mean? Like, but then you have to find the parts for it. I mean, they're computers now on wheels. You get in an accident, it's totaled because like the bumper had like a $50,000 computer in it. And they're like, yep, that's totaled. Whatever. Yeah. Used cars are pretty expensive nowadays too. Exactly. It's everything's expensive. They're not making anything affordable. Nothing is affordable at all. Speaking of money, the penny no longer is going to be pressed anymore. Bye penny. How often do you spend change? How often do you use cash?
I'm not really a cash payer anymore. It's mostly I pay with a debit card, and my daughter only pays with her phone. She has her things on her phone. So I don't know. I mean, part of me is nostalgic, and I feel like, our money needs to be backed up by currency, but that's I get that it's an old fashioned way of thinking and that it costs more to manufacture the penny than the penny is worth. And so I get that. But did you hear the way they're going to deal with it? They talked to some major retailers like, I don't know, Home Depot and Lowe's, and I think Walmart was involved in this study as well. And they were asked, these retailers, all right, well, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to handle it's McDonald's, Wendy's, Kroger, other top retailers. So what are these companies going to do without pennies? So here's what McDonald's is going to do. If your order is $10.22,
Uh-huh.
then you'll only pay $10.20. So McDonald's will eat the 2 cents. But if your order comes out to $10.23, then they're going to round up and then you're going to owe $10.25. So then you'll pay the difference. So that's how they're going to do it.
Interesting. Okay.
Go to
Well-
Foods. They say they're recommending to round cash transactions in the guest's favor. They all emphasize that digital orders and card payments won't be affected or impacted by this, but they're all planning to round these transactions either up or down. And that is
just
what
make your
they're going to do.
prices. Yeah, just make your prices not end on a penny. Like,
Right.
that's it. Like, just make sure all the maths out,
That
right?
whole trying to trick us with it being $1.99 instead of $2, just make it $2. Really?
No, you're not fooling anybody. You know what I mean?
$99.99. Just make it $100. Stop it.
I've used cash recently. I have cash in my wallet. I always have cash in my wallet. Most of the time I have cash in my wallet. So remember your parents ever tell you that always have cash in your wallet just in case?
Yeah.
Now it's like, geez, I don't know if that even helps you.
Have a 20 tucked behind your driver's license.
Something like that, right? I don't even know if that like, does that help? Like everyone's like, I don't take cash anymore. You're like, okay, that didn't help me at all. The penny, it's like the take a penny, leave a penny thing, right? Like pennies were just so throwaway things. I was listening to the radio because they pressed their last penny yesterday. They were talking about those penny machines that flatten the penny. Like, what are all those machines going to do? And they're like, they'll just give you pennies to do. How long is it going to take to get all the pennies out of circulation, though? It's going to take forever.
Think about all the pennies rolling around the junk drawers of America.
Because people aren't going to use them.
Right.
I mean, nobody's paying with cash. So these pennies are just going to stay out there. I mean, think about it. I mean, all the pennies that are out there are probably just going to stay out there. No one's going to throw their pennies away, and unless they go to the bank and turn them in.
So one of these stores in this article had a penny cash-in event where they would give you double the amount that you turned in. So if you turned in 10 cents, they'd give you 20 cents, and then they made it into a gift card for the store, just in order to try to get all the pennies.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What store was that? I was like,
I would do that. It's the store we don't have here, but I would do that.
That's a good idea.
I'll round up all my pennies and cash them in. That's fine.
I mean, my parents used to do that. They used to have, those Alhambra water jugs, and they'd put cash, like whatever, like change they had in it, and whatever, and it was filled up. And that's what we would use to go on like family vacations. You know what I mean? And I remember as a kid, like literally rolling coins and everything like that as a kid. But nowadays, I don't know, you just don't do that stuff anymore.
So now it's the penny, but when is it going to be the nickel?
Exactly. I mean, when it costs more to make the nickel, then it's worth.
Yeah.
But what I don't want to go to is Bitcoin. Like this whole idea of Bitcoin is, as I always tell you guys, I have a Bitcoin. I have a percentage of a Bitcoin, but it's for educational purposes only. But the whole Trumpy freaking move into Bitcoin and that sort of thing is so stupid. It's absolutely dumb. It's just dumb.
With that whole Bitcoin thing going on now and the whole crypto thing and prices shooting up, what's your Bitcoin worth now?
It hasn't really moved.
No?
I mean, it's still, I've obviously made money off the, $50-100 that I initially put in. Let's take a look. Educational purposes actually went down. It was over $2,000. I think the last time I checked, I'm at 1948. So it went down.
See, and how much did you start with?
$100.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? And that was years ago, years and years ago.
And now it's just an experiment. We're just letting it ride.
I've never. I just use it as like an experiment. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like that's weird. That's just weird. And I shouldn't lose that much money off money. You know what I mean? Like that's just stupid. But again, if you started at the beginning and you made millions, billions off Bitcoin, more power to you. But the Trump and his sons are so dirty in the crypto, and I cannot believe that America is just letting them get away with it. It's And that's fine because they're the most transparent. This is the most transparent presidency because they're just doing it right in front of your effing face.
There is that.
You just don't care. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like someone just stole jewelry off the counter and no one can say anything.
Yeah, that was transparent. I was a transparent robber. Yeah, exactly. They just
Wasn't
did it
trying
right
to hide anything
in
at
front
all.
of your face. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Okay, I want to end the show kind of on a sad note because he was someone that we spoke with for years. I know that you mentioned it on Mark's show, but I would be remiss if I did not mention it on ours because I talked to him for years. Jim Avila passed away, 69, right? 69 years old. He had a long illness, I believe, with his kidneys because his brother, I believe, donated a kidney to him.
Mhm.
I was reading about him. He had a very, very long news career. He worked for I was reading about him, Kim. I mean, obviously he was an ABC affiliate. He worked with ABC. He did hits for us for years at KGO. And then he's just been in the business forever. Nicest guy. I never met him in person, but obviously I've seen him, through the computer and through the airwaves. But he passed away, and I just wanted to take a moment to say, you never really know somebody in this professional atmosphere, but he was always such a nice guy, and he was always available. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was always on top of it. He had a great personality that always came through. Just the nicest guy. And I just wanted to take a moment to say, he passed away, and my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. He had like 3 kids.
Was kind, and he approached everything with empathy.
Yeah.
And his reporting that he did in the last year of his life at the border at San Isidro, where he was working in San Diego, the way he reported with kindness and a heart, that kind of reporting is something we miss. I'll miss. He was lovely. He was so nice.
He was such a
Anytime
nice
I
guy.
needed him, he was like, "I'll be there for you. I got you. Yeah, we got this. We're gonna do this." Did you have a chance to see the coverage from ABC, what they posted?
I don't know if I'm seeing the same one. I saw so many different montages.
Okay.
Let's see, which one do you have? Let's see.
This is
shut down the government.
Oh no!
Shut down the government. In the first vote, I abstained from that and was concerned about a government shutdown. And
no, that's wrong. No, the folks that I think I must have let it run, and so it went to the next story. But here it is. I'm sorry, you guys.
No,
I got it together. Here it goes.
Oh, he's just so nice.
Now we have some sad news about one of our ABC News colleagues. Former ABC News senior national correspondent Jim Avila has passed away after a long illness. Jim was an LA-based correspondent specializing in politics, justice, law, and consumer investigations for nearly 2 decades. He also worked in the White House and broke the news that the U.S. and Cuba had reopened diplomatic relations. That story earned him the prestigious Merriman Award from the White House Correspondents Association. After leaving ABC News, Jim joined the ABC affiliate in San Diego as a senior investigative reporter, covering a wide range of stories with depth and fairness. Jim also faced health challenges with courage, including a kidney transplant donated by his brother. The president of ABC News writes to colleagues this morning, quote, "We send our heartfelt condolences to his family, including his 3 children, Jamie, Jenny, and Evan, and we thank him for his many contributions and unwavering commitment to seeking out the truth."
Yeah, he was just such a nice guy, Jim Avila. So yeah, our thoughts go out to him. I think he had 3 kids. So yeah, very nice guy. You've heard him on KGO. You've heard him on Mark's show with Kim and on with me. And so I wanted to take a moment to say my condolences to him and his family. So yeah. Also,
Cheryl writes, Jim Avila was on as a regular on this podcast, and I got to know him. I think she's talking about Mark's show, and I may not have the spelling right, but he was a well-renowned, wonderful person who died way too young.
Yeah.
Harry Magnan with a 5 says, "Oh my God, Jim was too young. Loved him on the Mark Thompson show, as did we all."
Yeah,
Harry, as did we all.
Exactly. 69, way too young, way too young. Okay, well, that is our show for today. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support. Oh my God, this just came into Ren. Thank you, Nikki and Kim, for filling our Thursday with friendship. Thank you, Ren, for the $20 donation. Harry came in with the $5 donation as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, I love the support. You guys are such great supporters of the show, and we just can't do it without you. You know, it's just it's so nice to see you guys every Thursday with our cocktails and with, you know, digging through all of the news and everything like that. Oh, Phineas has a question. You know, I'm going to give you the answer. I'm going to give you a funny answer. Phineas, where's the best place to drink in Queen Creek? I'm not going to say this is the best place to drink in Queen Creek. I'm going to tell you that it's not necessarily in Queen Creek, but it's not too far. And the only reason I'm mentioning this place is because Dylan brought it, my son Dylan, brought it up yesterday because we're going to Arizona for Christmas. Well, after Christmas. And he's like, we always go to this one place every single time. It does take a long time to get dinner, but it's huge. It has live music all the time. But it takes forever sometimes to get dinner on the weekends because it's so popular. It has fire pits. It has pool tables. It has good food. It's a fabulous fun time, but Dylan made me crack up laughing because he knows we go there every single time. It's called San Tan Flats. So if you want to check it out, go there. Other than that, I don't know because we always go there. So give it a try, Phineas. So yeah, give us a thumbs up to show your support for the show. The super chat, super stickers are always live, whether we are live or recorded, and we always appreciate all the support. PayPal also, we love our PayPal supporters. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show, especially like right after we get off air. So many of you go on PayPal and give us some love, so we appreciate that too. Okay, so back here next Thursday. 5 o'clock. We will be here. Love you. Take care of each other.
Wait. Thank you to Sue-Ann who pops in with Suzanne. Suzanne, rather.
Suzanne, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. You are so generous. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. All right, you guys. Love you. Thank you so much for the support. Bye, guys.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.